What is up, y'all? Today is Sunday, May 1st, 2022. I'm Lindsay Duff, and you're hanging out here with us at Responsible Day Trading. So, as you know, I've been doing these videos on Sunday night because we're not getting a whole lot of movement Sunday night and Monday morning, kind of seeing the same picture. So it does make things a little bit easier if we just go ahead and do it Sunday night. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check out what we've got going on. The first thing we like to check out before the market opens on Monday is news. We can just head on over here to news, then we can go to market news, and we can see what we got going on this week. I haven't looked, so we're going to see this together. All right, we've got quite a bit going on. Monday morning, 30 minutes after market opens, 9 a.m., we've got some high impact news. Tuesday, same thing. Wednesday, some pre-market. We've got news going on when the market opens, and we've got FOMC. Thursday and Friday might be a little bit more quiet after FOMC, and the news is pre-market. Now, one of the things about FOMC, if you're not aware, is sometimes before it takes off at that 1 o'clock or 5 minutes before that 1 o'clock time when it starts moving, it can slow down to almost a stop. So you want to be aware of that, and typically we see price action spike really, really hard when this does take off. Does it usually end up going in the same direction it was going before? Yes, but it typically does a big, big move that may stop you out of whatever you're in if you're not careful and just not paying attention. Just being aware means we're over halfway there. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out the market. We're going to go ahead and start out with the daily chart. All right, so looking at the daily chart here, and I want to spread this out, and we're looking at this particular chart. I know we got a couple running in the background that we don't really need to pay attention to. It is really hard to see that this market is going to push back up anytime soon. Now, we did have this first area right here, but we do have another area that this traveled to just a little bit lower. And you can see we are sitting right there at that area, maybe just a little bit lower for our absolute low in the last few months. But what we're looking at here is the way the MACDs are behaving at this area. Are they higher than the previous pivots? Yes. So that could tell us that we're looking for a little bit of a move back up. The problem is we have a lot of strength coming down in these MACDs, and we have EMAs really already starting to roll over and open up. Now, we did see them start to roll over and open up here, but the MACDs were not in the same type of situation that they are now. So if we break beyond this area, I think we're going to see a pretty big move to the downside, and it's probably going to be kind of fast, because what I want to look at is the last time we were sitting at this area with the MACDs with strength to the downside. What happened? It gave a little bit of a pullback like we saw right in here as the MACDs were rolling over, and it just pushed with so much strength to the downside. Now, do I think we're going to see as big of a spike as we saw back here? I really wouldn't like to, but we may, and this may be the start of a trend to the downside. So, it's really going to depend on if we break through this area and just how the MACDs are behaving. Are we at an extreme area? Yes, you can see we have been at this area several times, and it tends to hold the MACDs, tends to hold the movement and turn things around. But we do have those rare big spikes, and we have a little bit of the look to the move to the downside. One of the things that I think really, I don't want to use the word concerns, but interests me the most is the fact that these MACDs haven't even started to get any lighter like they were here. Were they outside and pushing down here and here? Yes, but they were significantly higher than the last pivot the MACDs made. And they didn't have a whole ton of momentum behind it like we saw here. So, like I said, if we make it through this area, right in here, we're probably going to see this move to the downside with some strength and momentum. But let's go ahead and look at the 28,657, see what it's telling us. Okay, so the 28,657 is giving us a little bit of hope of at least a very decent pullback. You can see what's happening with the MACDs here. They're really, really white at this point, and they're starting to try to pull back up. That is not what I would consider strength to the upside. We'd want to see some distance between the BBs. We really want to see some movement and some reaction to say that we're going to get a decent move back to the upside. Otherwise, what we may see is it just roll down and continue down. Now, we had a little spike up and a little spike down. When we're looking at our smaller charts, it looks like a huge spike. But when we look at these bigger charts, like the 28,657, it's not such a big move. Now, with these white BBs happening like this and the possibility of it picking up some strength, we have to think to ourselves, if it does pull back, where are the next areas where we might anticipate it to push down a little bit more? And the areas that stand out to me most is, first off, well, the very first one would be right here, where it held at that particular area and pushed it back down. The next one would be this little area right in here, and followed by the final area right here of the EMAs and the area of resistance. Now, if it pulls all the way back up there, we will most likely see this EMA come down just a little bit further, maybe even a little closer to this area right in here to show us a space to take a bounce and to take a move back to the downside. And obviously, if we make it to that area, it's what I'm always saying to myself, when we make it to that area, if we make it there, when we make it there, what are we going to look for in order to anticipate this area to hold? It'd have to be a significant slowdown in the MACDs and some other things like divergences on the smaller charts to tell us that it's going to push down. All right, so let's go ahead and come to our charts that we are really looking at to trade. Okay, so if we're looking at these three charts right here, and let me go ahead and move this over to the ES. When we're looking at these three charts right here, what we really want to see is this one's going to be our bigger momentum overall chart, okay? And right now, the bigger momentum in the price action is to the downside with the strength of the EMAs being wide and spread apart, but the MACDs are really saying we're still trying to push up a little bit higher. These pullbacks that have happened had almost no reaction in the MACDs. But with the strength of the EMAs down, we could easily turn down once we get up closer to the zero line or something to that nature. So if I'm looking at my 1597, currently it's trying to show that we are looking to make a push back to the upside. I do like that we are back above the EMAs. We're trying to push back above the zero line, and we're really trying to pull outside of the Bollinger Bands. You can see the strength as the BBs are pulling away and creating distance between them, and this bar is pushing up. But we don't have a whole huge space to run where this area held before. So we're going to have to watch it, see what it tells us, and really just pay attention. So, can we take moves to the downside when the market's moving up? And can we take moves to the upside when the market's moving down? Absolutely. We wouldn't have pullbacks and retracements if we couldn't do that and be a part of it. But what we have to do is pay attention to when the move is happening and how we can really place our risk in an area that is going to give us low risk potential and an area where we don't expect the market to go. And that's how we're going to use the 1597, 233, 10946 combo. We've got this big overall movement and what we're looking for to happen in the 10946. The 1597's giving us typically where we're looking for the setup to happen. And the 233 is where we're looking to really minimize the risk. Now, if it still has very large risk on it, like right now, if I was going to get in, I'd want my risk back here. And that would leave me with about 6 points in risk. definitely not worth it. Even if it does make it all up here, make it all the way up here, it still has the potential to pull back a little bit more and really just come back and give me a stop out or just make me stress out that whole pullback. So what we do is we actually wait for that pullback to happen. And one of the things that I'm consistently talking about with people is wait for the pullback, wait for the drama to happen, right? And the drama is going to happen in the price action, and the MACDs, not so much. The MACDs are going to let us know if they're overreacting or if the price is showing us a lot of strength and momentum. We can read those type of things by understanding the movement in the MACDs. So just a little bit of a breakdown of how we use the price action and the MACDs together. And if we're looking for this bigger chart to really have movement in that direction, where can we have low risk entries to be a part of it and know that we still have some movement potential? Right now, in slow overnight movement with something like this, you could find yourself making up trades as they're happening, right? Just that just pulled back just far enough. It looks like it's creating reversal bars. It looks like the small chart's starting to move in that direction. And a lot of that comes from us trying to be in a place where we feel like we have to go, work. And really a lot of what we do here is just to sit and wait for the right things to happen. Look for the movements to line up and look for that low risk entry that can give us a bigger potential to move with the bigger chart or to move with the bigger move. And if we're not going to take the bigger move, if we're going to take that smaller, quicker pullback, pay attention to where those support and resistance areas are that could make that movement stop and start to continue in that bigger direction. So it's a lot of paying attention to the macro and the micro at the same time. It's looking at that bigger picture and that smaller picture and knowing what the in-between is that just kind of has those gears working together like a zipper to kind of just pop everything right in the right space and be ready to roll. But it doesn't come with just understanding that. A lot of it comes with understanding that we have to pay attention to our mental well-being, the way our thoughts are, and what may be happening for that day in order to make sure our head's in the right space to take these trades and be prepared to do the right thing when it presents itself to us. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up. I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. If you have questions, definitely let us know. And as always, you know that I look forward to catching you on the profitable side.